Hello, I'm Ali, and I want to run through kind of my weekly car highlights, I suppose. And this is stuff that's been happening in the automotive world over the past week. So first up, I want to start off with SUVs. Now, a lot's been going on in the world of SUVs this week. The one I've kind of noticed the most has been the new Rolls-Royce, the Cullinan, as far as I'm aware. I don't know how to pronounce it, in all honesty, but the new Rolls-Royce. And this has been spotted out in Germany, doing high-speed tests on the Autobahn. And they've said that they're going to go and test it at the end of this year, I think, up in the Arctic Circle, and then in Dubai in the summer, do their winter and summer testing. Personally, from what I've seen anyway, because it's got the bodywork on it as it will be, just that weird fancy like wrap basically to basically keep everything under wraps. That threw me off. But I like the route they've gone down. I think compared to the Bentley Bentayga, because that's kind of level pegging, I suppose. The Bentley Bentayga, in my opinion, is a little bit ugly, but whereas this one is a lot more boxy, looks more masculine, looks more aggressive, from what I've seen anyway. But of course, we won't know until it's properly unveiled. So it's going to be Rolls-Royce's first SUV 4x4 with a developed Rolls-Royce Phantom engine, which is a 6.8 litre V12 engine. So as I mentioned, the Bentley Bentayga, Bentley are looking to kind of expand their Bentayga range, as far as I'm aware, looking to add in different kind of areas and aspects of it in terms of like a long wheelbase version to kind of capitalize, I suppose, on the really high end market and the luxury world, as well as a more sportier coupe type like the Mercedes GLE and the BMW X6, as well as going into more of a sportier version and having something in the similar types of what could be a Range Rover SVR, but like imagine a Bentley Continental GT3R slash SUV. Staying with the SUVs, Range Rover currently testing, road testing, their new Range Rover Sport Coupe. In all honesty, having looked at it, I don't see the point in it. If I was going to go for a Range Rover kind of smaller car, you look at the Evoque, and also because it's Land Rover, it's Jaguar Land Rover, and I would think go with an F-Pace instead, a Jaguar F-Pace. Similar to the possibility of the Bentayga Coupe, the Range Rover Sport Coupe is kind of aimed again more at the Mercedes GLE and the BMW X6, which is kind of the new market for sport SUVs. Now then, moving into the world of hypercars and supercars. And we start with one of the Holy Trinity, the Ferrari LaFerrari. Only 499 of the coupes were made, but only up until recently, a 500th car was made. This is a special limited edition run car. It was made to sell at auction, with all the proceeds of the car going to the victims of the Italian earthquake earlier in the year. And when the cars first came out, they were around 1 million euros or 1.2 million pounds. As far as I'm aware, nowadays you've seen a couple that have been sold at auction or sold second hand, upwards of 2 million. As far as I'm aware, there's a couple that have been sold for 2.2, 2.5, maybe even 3 million pounds. Now, this is not the first time that Ferrari have done something like this. Back in 2004, Ferrari made a 500th Enzo for the Boxing Day earthquake that happened. This Enzo is most notably known for its white stripe down the length of the car, as well as the Italian flag right on the front of the bonnet. And as with this LaFerrari and the Enzo, both 500th versions of them, they come with a special plaque saying that they are car number 500, whereas all other cars will come with the chassis number or the number of the car slash, of 499. Now, this LaFerrari was sold through the auctioneer Sotheby's and was sold for a massive £5.5 million. Sotheby's also waived their fee to help with the cause as well. So there was absolutely the full £5.5 million went towards the help of the hundreds of people that lost their homes and lives, and thousands of people that are still dealing with what happened. Now, after the release of the McLaren MSO HS, there is another McLaren MSO special operations car, I suppose. It's the 675 LT Spider, but there are only 25 of these being made. Now, the difference between these is that they are fully carbon fibre, similar to the P1s that they made in fully carbon fibre. This specially limited run 675 LT Spider comes with around 40% more carbon fibre. It's been made in a certain way that means that they can't be retrofitted to other 675s, so you can't fit them to a normal 675 LT or an LT Spider that are already out. This week has featured a lot of spy shots with the Rolls-Royce Cullinan as well as the Range Rover Sport Coupe. The last one that I'm going to touch on is something I'm quite interested in seeing, actually, is the new Toyota Supra. Now, I was a huge fan of the old Supra. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of car fans out there that are excited to see this as well. It draws a lot on the kind of the FT1 concept, but slightly changed. They're also making it, as far as I'm aware, in conjunction with BMW and the Z5. That's about as much as I know on the car. but it should be coming out in about 2018, shortly after the Z5 has been released. Now we're moving on to one of the pinnacles of hypercars. It's Bugatti. Now the Chiron was released earlier this year at the Geneva Motor Show, and so far over 200 orders have been placed out of the 500 that they are making. Now this won't affect a lot of you unless you're a Chiron buyer, but basically they are upping their production. So far they say that they make around one a week, which means they're making about 52 a year. But next year, because of the amount of orders they're taking in, they're looking to up that to about 65 cars a year. What's 65? What's 65 divided by 52? 1.25 a week. So that means that they're making 1.25 cars a week instead of just one car a week. And I also just found out today something pretty insane with the Chiron. One customer has placed an order for 6. They average out about £2 million a car, but that doesn't include the taxes in putting them on the road and actually driving them. So I'm going to guess that this guy's probably from Saudi Arabia or the UAE or somewhere in the Middle East. So that's quite a lot of money. He's bought one for himself and the other 5 are for friends and family as gifts. So that's one great Christmas for next year. Sticking with big part of Bugatti, the guy that was responsible for creating the exterior look on the Chiron as well as the Vision GT, the 33-year-old Russian Alexander Selopinov, I think his name is pronounced. He was also part of the team that kind of designed the outside exterior look of the latest Lamborghini Huracan. Now with a great portfolio like that, being able to put your name towards the Huracan, the Chiron and the Vision GT, that's quite a good backstory basically. But weirdly enough, he has now been hired by Genesis. Now if you don't know who Genesis is or are, they are, think of how Lexus is to Toyota, they're like the luxury brand version of it. Genesis is that to Hyundai. Basically, Hyundai have just hired the guy that made the Chiron. All I can think of is that there's going to be some good looking cars coming out from Genesis in the next few years. At least I hope so. I hope he doesn't take a bad turn or Hyundai doesn't get involved too much, because in all honesty, no one wants to be driving an i30. So that's been my highlights of the car world for this week. Do let me know if there's anything that you think I should have included. Otherwise, I will see you next week. Bye.